let's go ahead and get rolling. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for joining, which is likely your lunch hour. Before we get started, a quick housekeeping note: please keep microphones muted through the duration of the presentation, and don't hesitate to ask questions at the end of this. You're also welcome to populate questions into the chat as Adam is presenting. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question, please know that you can privately message me, and I will be more than glad to ask that question on your behalf. Today we are joined by Adam from Managed Care Advisory Group, or MCAG for short. MCAG is a long-standing partnership with NHA and NHA services, and collectively they serve more than 40 NHA member hospitals, and they help them identify and recover funds that they may not realize that they're eligible for. So during today's session, Adam will walk us through how hospitals can capture value from class action lawsuit settlements, provide updates on the Discover Merchant settlement and the acute care hospital opioids round 2 settlement. And lastly, we will share how MCAG settlement recovery service simplifies the process for you all and for NHA members. And so Adam, it's my pleasure to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mike, and thank you everyone for taking the time to attend today's presentation. As he said, my name's Adam Schmidt. I'm the Vice President of Business Development with MCAG. I've been with the company for over 16 years, and I primarily assist clients and partners in educating them about class action settlement opportunities, as well as how to file appropriately. Also attending today's call with me is Kim Johnson, who's in the Business Development Department at MCAG. And as Mike said, this webinar will be recorded, and a copy of the recording, as well as a slide deck, will be available to all attendees for this event. And we'll also include additional marketing or educational materials upon request, if that makes sense. And with that, we'll get started with the slide deck. So during today's presentation, we will cover several important topics, including a brief background and history of MCAG, an overview of the Discover Merchant Card settlement, the second round of the acute care hospital opioid settlement, MCAG service and value drivers, as well as enrolling in MCAG service if it makes sense. And then obviously we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. This presentation really shouldn't last longer than 20 minutes, so hopefully we'll give you some part of your day back, unless there's a large number of questions at the end, which is totally fine. And if you do have any questions as to whether or not your organization is enrolled with MCAG for all settlements, please do not hesitate to reach out to Mike, Emily, Kim, or myself. We can answer that very easily. Additionally, any questions that we may not be able to answer on the spot, we'll definitely follow up with an email response or a call if desired. We'll start off with the acute care hospital opioid settlement. Again, this is round 2. So there is a second round of settlements for the acute care hospital opioid settlement. The first round of the ACH opioid settlement resulted in significant payments to many of our hospital clients, including several that received 7-figure checks. So it was a substantial settlement. The filing deadline for the first round was in March of 2025, and that had a fund of $651 million. The fund for the second round is at $174 million thus far, and the settlement claims that defendants engaged in coordinated actions that contributed to opioid addiction, and it aims to cover operational losses that hospitals incurred in treating patients with opioid-related conditions. There are over a dozen companies that remain in litigation from the original ACH opioid case, so the amounts could still continue and there could be more settlements in the future. This case was specifically against the Sackler family, and again, the fund could continue to grow, which is something we'll be keeping an eye on. Eligible entities include any acute care hospitals in the United States that are not owned or operated by a federal, state, county, parish, city, or other municipal government, and treated patients with opioid use disorder, or OUD, or opioid-related conditions. MCAG clients received an average of around $15,000 per facility from the initial settlement, And while this one's not as large, we do expect payments from this settlement to be significant for our hospital clients. A filing deadline of July 15th, 2026 has just been announced, and we're currently preparing to file claims on behalf of enrolled clients into this settlement. Next, we'll cover the Discover Merchant Settlement. This settlement addresses allegations that Discover Financial Services misclassified certain consumer credit card transactions as commercial accounts. This resulted in higher interchange fees for businesses, many of which were unfairly overcharged for years. So in standard transactions, commercial accounts pay a higher interchange fee than consumer, and Discover has agreed to set aside $1.2 billion to reimburse affected merchants. In the simplest terms, if your organization accepted or processed Discover card transactions between January 1st, 2007 and December 31st, 2023, you could be eligible to receive funds from this settlement. The settlement really breaks down class members into three separate categories. The first is end merchants. This includes businesses directly accepting Discover cards. So this would be most of our hospital and healthcare clients would be in this category. The second is merchant acquirers. This category covers entities facilitating Discover card transactions. And the last is payment intermediaries. This category includes entities processing Discover card transactions on behalf of the merchants. It is estimated that up to 11 million merchant IDs or MIDs were impacted by Discover's actions. And in terms of important the deadlines, the first two dates on here are really only applicable to merchant acquirers or payment facilitators. Essentially, these dates refer to deadlines for submitting data that will assist in determining actual damages to class members. The next date of March 25th, 2026, which is obviously passed, was the opt-out deadline. Presumably, most people, if you're on this call wanting to learn about the settlement, you didn't opt out. And typically, class members that do opt out of the settlements, they do so because they're going to pursue the defendants with their own legal counsel. They don't want to be part of the broader class action settlement. And then last but not least, May 18th, 2026 is the claim filing deadline. So unless something changes, a valid claim must be filed by this date in order to receive payment from the settlement. And what we always try to recommend to clients is even if you're not 100% sure you're eligible, it's worth having us do an analysis to see if it makes sense to file a claim, because if you have a seat at the table, your claim is still alive as long as it's in there by the deadline and you can get paid. If not, there's no chance for monetary reimbursement. In terms of next steps, there's really two separate priorities. The first is to review and confirm your information if you're an existing client. It's possible that we probably already have at least partial data for most of you if we filed into the Visa MasterCard settlement. However, it's important that you confirm or provide to us, if you're a new client, a list of all merchant IDs or MIDs that were used during the time frame. Any processors, credit card processing companies that were used during the time frame, a list of all tax ID numbers, as well as location addresses. If we have all that information, we can file a thorough and complete claim. Additional locations or MIDs can be added in our settlement recovery hub, or you can reach out by our website or call to speak with an account representative. Any of those will work to get that information in our system. We have included information on how to enroll in the hub in the next slide if you've not already done so. So that's something we'll cover very shortly here. And if we do already have all of your information from filing into the Visa MasterCard settlement, you should be all set unless there are any merchant ID numbers that have been added for the years 2020 through 2023. The Discover settlement covers additional 3 years that were not included in the Visa MasterCard settlement. So in other words, the Visa MasterCard settlement was 2007 to 2020, and Discover is 2007 to 2023 for the eligible time frame for recovery. Please also remember to forward any claim forms or notices that you receive from the settlement administrator to our attention, as they can be useful in supplementing our filings. You don't need to fill out the claim forms or populate any of the fields or anything like that before sending them to us, but it can be very helpful in just ensuring that we're covering every single entity that you have a right to recover on behalf of. I mentioned this briefly before, but if you do end up registering with us for the service, or if you already have, within 24 hours of completing the registration, clients receive a follow-up email with instructions for logging into the MCAG Settlement Recovery Hub. This is a secure portal where clients can upload any pertinent information for filing purposes. Examples, again, would include merchant ID numbers and all merchant locations or addresses. Clients can also view the settlements that have been filed on their behalf, in addition to receiving important updates regarding filing status, pay updates, etc. And obviously, we can resend instructions for how to enroll in the hub at any time by request. And it takes literally 5 to 7 minutes to complete it. Again, you don't have to do it, but it's very helpful. It's the easiest way to securely store all the information and make sure we have everything we need in order to file. In terms of client updating and reports, clients will receive regular reporting from MCAG once we've initiated the filing process. An example of report is displayed here. All clients receive the class action settlements quarterly reports, which list all active settlements that MCAG is tracking and filing on behalf of enrolled clients. And this document will also let clients know if anything is needed from them for filing into some of the upcoming settlements. Again, you can always log on to the hub to receive up to the minute reporting or updates, but we try to cover it with as many bases as possible. There are some additional payment processing class actions coming up shortly. A lot of these haven't officially reached settlement status yet, but they're in litigation, so it's just something to keep an eye on. I'm just going to briefly cover these so that you're aware of them. The first is the fraud liability chargeback shift settlement. This settlement involves merchants challenging the shifting of fraud liability from banks to merchants for certain types of transactions, and it alleges that the liability shift was applied inappropriately or unfairly. So far, the settlement has set aside $231.7 million to reimburse affected parties, but again, it's not been finalized. There's no claim form or any actionable steps at this time. The second is the Visa debit MDL or multi-district litigation. This litigation alleges anti-competitive practices and excessive interchange fees on debit card transactions that were charged to merchants by the defendant. Again, an official settlement has not yet been reached, but the litigation is ongoing. One notable development in this case is that the court found that the Visa, any merchants or businesses that filed into the Visa MasterCard interchange fee settlement can still file into this settlement as well. So they're not precluded from joining this settlement, meaning you can get paid from both settlements and file claims into both settlements. And it should be very similar claims. And then the last but not least, there's an American Express anti-steering litigation. Again, the plaintiffs in this case allege that merchants were prohibited from encouraging customers to use lower fee cards, which resulted in higher fees to the end merchants. So we'll be keeping an eye on those as well and providing updates as soon as they reach settlement status. In terms of your options as a class member in any of these settlements that we've covered thus far, or any settlements that will come out going forward, there's really 4 major options. One we kind of briefly covered earlier, and that is opting out. And as I said, class members will typically select this option if they're pursuing the defendants directly with their own internal counsel or separate outside counsel. And while this can lead to larger payments, there are some inherent risks, including significant costs associated with additional litigation and then damaged relationships going forward with the defendant. So we always say to clients, most of the time when a large class action settlement's reached, the defendants actually want class members to take the money. They just want this issue to go away. They don't want to ever hear about it again. But obviously, if you're suing the defendants directly, there's a good chance they're going to remember that. The second option is to do nothing. And then, so in this instance, no money is received. You're still bound by the terms of the settlement agreement. And what we find sort of fascinating about this is that it's often the case that 80% or more of eligible entities do not pursue settlements for a host of reasons, including an unknown ROI. It's very difficult to set up a budget for something with unknown returns and an unknown time frame for payment. Limited access to data and records. Many settlements go back 15 years or more. So finding relevant data, even from third parties, can be difficult, as a lot of it is archived or no longer available. And last but not least, it's just hard to track all of the settlements. Notices are typically arbitrarily sent out. There's a pretty quick timeline that you have to act and file a claim based on those notices. And, depending on the size of our clients and where they're located, there's some clients we file into a dozen settlements per year. The third option is to submit a claim on your own. This is always a possibility, and MCAG never says that our clients can't do that on their own. But it's very rare that class members take advantage of all settlement opportunities for which they have eligible claims. So our goal is always just to make sure that we're building up as big a pipeline as possible and that our clients always have a seat at the table. And then last but not least, you can have a third party submit a claim on your behalf. This is obviously what MCAG does. We track all the settlements. We gather and format all the data. We fill out all the necessary paperwork and everything online that needs to be done. And then we work with the settlement administrator to ensure payment. We really try to act as the advocate and expert on behalf of all of our clients and cover everything from A to Z for each settlement. Just a little bit about us as a company. MCAG is headquartered in Toledo, Ohio, and was founded in 2003 to provide the class action settlement recovery service. Really what we do is we act as the authorized third-party filing agent on behalf of our clients. We are not attorneys, and we do not generally participate in the litigation process. We're stepping in when, most of these cases have been litigation for 7, 10, 15 years. When a settlement is reached and a process is set up that you have to follow in order to get paid, that's where we're coming into the picture and making sure that we're doing that on behalf of our clients. We track and file into every settlement for which our clients are eligible to receive cash distributions. The settlements that we work on are generally antitrust in nature, but the key is that the organization itself is the class member and is eligible to receive funds. Our service is always provided on a contingency fee basis, meaning there are no upfront fees and we do not get paid unless our clients do. We do not send bills or invoices. Instead, we send a check net of our fees when a settlement successfully pays out. We have been filing into class action settlements for more than 20 years, and we've represented clients in more than 120 cases. We're partnered with over 30 state hospital associations, as well as large consulting firms, pharmacy benefit managers, data clearinghouses, and others. And the reason this is significant is that our partners are a very valuable source of data that we can often rely on to assist in the claims filing process. And as a result, we've recovered over $500 million for more than our over 11,000 clients. In terms of value drivers, for many of the settlements that we work on, very little time and effort is required from clients in order to file a claim. Quite often, the basic information that's provided in the enrollment form is enough to at least get started on most of the settlements that we're going to work on for clients in a given year. And again, our access to data through partnerships and providing data, our templates for data requests, this really simplifies the process and increases the end payment from a given settlement, which leads to the maximum ROI. So we always tell clients, whether you're getting back hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if you didn't have to spend a lot of time on the process, the ROI remains high. So that's our goal. We do encourage clients to send all notices to our attention. While this is certainly not mandatory, we do find that this is a tremendous option for many of our clients. It helps to provide peace of mind. We're taking this off of their desk, making sure that it's action taken on it. And sometimes there can be region or industry specific settlements that we may not be aware of because they're smaller, but the payments can still be significant for our clients because it's a much smaller class. And last but not least, we track every available settlement, therefore increasing the number of opportunities for each client, and which leads to a larger revenue stream in the long run. In terms of our process, once enrolled, our account management team continually notifies clients of pending opportunities and ensures that all claims are filed in a timely manner. We do work directly with clients to prepare email templates for data requests if needed, and we provide reports of all claims filed and payments made or pending. And again, we work with a lot of the sources for data for the partners, and we have years of experience working with a lot of the settlement administrators as well. So we get along with them and have a professional relationship. MCAG's enrollment process is quick and easy. Once a client is enrolled, we'll immediately start tracking and filing to all eligible settlements on behalf of those clients. I can enroll electronically on the website, and we can send a hyperlink to enroll through the Nebraska Hospital Association as a follow-up to this. If it hasn't already been included, we'll make sure that it is in case you have any interest in that. And then again, upon accessing the enrollment platform, organizations will need to include some basic information, including business name, primary address, tax ID number, and several other items that will assist us in filing to every settlement. Again, it probably takes 5 to 7 minutes on average to complete the enrollment form. And then once a client is enrolled, they'll get a confirmation email immediately listing the settlements MCAG plans on pursuing on their behalf. And then at this point, clients can let MCAG know if there's any settlements that they don't want us to pursue on their behalf as well. Although I will say probably 98% of our clients usually want us to file into everything they're eligible for. You will receive an enrollment confirmation of the agreement, and then it gives you information on how to contact an MCAG representative if desired. And with that, to summarize, if you believe your organization may even be remotely eligible for the Discover Card settlement or the ACH opioid settlement and have not already started the process of filing a claim, it probably makes sense to have MCAG and the Nebraska Hospital Association guide you through the process. Again, the hyperlink to enroll through the Nebraska Hospital Association will be provided as a follow-up, as well as a copy of the slide deck and a recording of this presentation. And so with that, we'll open up to any questions and we'll stay on as long as needed here. Thank you.
Adam, I'll jump in. Well done. You've given this presentation a few times, I can tell. So really,
thank you.
Really well covered. I had a few questions prepared, and you might have nailed all of them. But one through the back a few slides, you mentioned the Settlement Recovery Hub, which I think is a great tool. Would you recommend that the NHA members that are actively partnered with MCAG, should we recommend that they all have access to that Settlement Recovery Hub and should set a registration or login up, or what are your thoughts there?
Yes, and what we can do, we can either provide it to you all to send out to those, or anyone that attended today's presentation. We can send the instructions for how to enroll in the hub. Very, very easy for us to do that. Again, it's not 100% mandatory, but it is the cleanest, easiest way to do that. So I think that makes sense. If you're willing to do that, we'll provide the instructions on how to do that again.
Yeah, be happy to. I think that would be a great step. From time to time, I do receive clarifying or clarity questions from NHA members asking, how do we know which ones were involved, the settlements we're involved with? And I think this would be a great way to provide that visibility.
Absolutely.
To the NHA members on the call, this is an excellent opportunity to ask the experts in class action settlements anything that's on your mind. All questions accepted. Does anyone have something for Adam or for Kim? And Adam will embrace the silence for
no problem.
30 seconds.
I have been doing about 3 of these a week for the last 3 or 4 months, and we get all ranges of no questions, sometimes 20 questions, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
And again, if there's questions that come up after the presentation or from those that watch the recording, we'll respond very quickly. If they want to shoot an email to Mike or Emily or to Kim or myself, we'll make sure we're available and can even do a separate call if needed.
Awesome. No, appreciate the support, Adam. I think someone may be typing in the chat again. Let's just give it 30 seconds. No immediate need to rush. Adam, would you mind walking through what NHA members need to do for signing up with the portal?
Yeah, no problem. So the easiest way to do it is we'll include with a follow-up to this to this webinar a hyperlink to our online enrollment platform.
Okay.
through Nebraska Hospital Association. So you'll click on that hyperlink, scroll down to where it says SRS registration form, and then there's a bunch of fields that say required fields, and they'll have a little asterisk next to them. And again, it's just, business name, number of employees, tax ID numbers, and a lot of it you can only fill in one piece of information for them, and then you can supplement the rest, or just shoot us an email with an Excel spreadsheet for the rest of the information if you have additional tax IDs and that kind of stuff. But yeah, just clicking on the hyperlink, scroll down to the bottom where it says SRS registration, and then just complete those fields. And it literally takes 5 to 7 minutes and you'll be registered. You'll receive an immediate notification of successful registration.
Very good. Adam, one thought I had, I know that at times there can be moving pieces and individuals among NHA members. Let's say, for an example, one of our member hospitals had signed a partnership agreement with MCAG, say in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
The individual who signed that document is no longer with the organization, and we have a member trying to re-register the facility. Is there a notification to the individual currently registering? They'll say, hey, you're already registered, or how does that process work?
Great question, and it will, because typically it will come in as a duplicate, either business name or tax ID number, and It will give them an immediate message that says you are already registered. This is a duplicate. And then, we can reach out. They can either reach out to us or we can follow up directly afterwards. But that is a great point, because if you are already registered, it won't allow you to complete it again.
Awesome.
It'll come up as a duplicate.
So the unique identifier that our members need to know is the organizational name and the tax ID is what I heard. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Awesome. Very good. That'll prevent duplicative efforts. So
that's a great question. And like I said, we can always provide a list of enrolled hospitals as well to you all, so that you can see that ahead of time too.
Should one of our members be seeking to confirm that they are partnered with MCAG for class action lawsuit recoveries, what would be the easiest way to go about that? And I'll throw another caveat. If they're looking for the, say, original partnership agreements signed years ago, are you all able to provide that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can provide any agreements that were signed at any time. We can provide a copy
Perfect.
to clients, and happy to do that. What was the other part of the question? I apologize. Or is that?
Yeah, just if they could receive a copy of, say, like the existing partnership agreement. Yeah.
Absolutely, no problem.
Cool.
And the easiest way for them to do that, I mean, like I said, they can send an email to you all. They can reach out to Kim or I, and anybody that gets it, they'll send it out, and we can check that same day. No problem.
Perfect. Well, before we wrap up, any final questions for the class action lawsuit experts from the group? And as Adam just alluded to, please know that we're always available by phone call, email. Always happy to help. We're here. At the end of the day, we're here to serve NHA member hospitals. So Adam, let me recap this, and you fill any gaps that I missed. But what we're going to do from here is we are going to send a recap email that will include the recording of this webinar, the PowerPoint presentation, how to register. And am I missing something?
No, I think that sounds right.
All those 3 key items, and we'll make sure all that is in a succinct email to everyone who registered for this email. And like we mentioned, if there's something we can do to help, or if there's questions we can answer, please reach out to us.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate the opportunity, and everyone attending today as well.
Yeah, Adam, we appreciate you. Thank you for the partnership.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.